lecture, this is we are going to have with you today. Before going into the lecture, of course, you should be aware of this word optics. What do we mean by optics? This is, of course, branch of physics in which we deal with the study of the nature, production and propagation of light. It means when we are able to see the things, of course, this is the visible spectrum of your electromagnetic wave. If I want, I can have the optics into two branches like ray optics and wave optics. Few phenomena of light we are able to explain with the help of ray optics, while few phenomena we are able to explain with the help of wave nature of light. So this we will study, of course, in the coming chapter also, that is dual nature of radiation, when we are talking about that your light, it is behaving like a ray as well as it is behaving like a wave also. So it is having the dual nature. At times it behaves like ray, at times it behaves like wave. So for that, what is the condition under which it will behave like wave, or under what condition it will behave like ray? That we have to go in detail. For this lecture, we have to focus on the wave optics, how we have come to know about the wave nature of light, different phenomena which we deal while taking the light as a wave. Like wave optics, we are able to explain the phenomena like interference, diffraction and polarization. While if I take the light as a ray, I am able to explain reflection, refraction, dispersion, like we are able to explain. But this interference and diffraction could not be explained by taking the ray nature of light. The things, of course, they are not developing in one day. So there has been so many theories and after which we came to these conclusions. First of all, your corpuscular theory that was given by Newton. He took the light as consisting of tiny particles. It means ray nature. Then wave theory of light came given by Huygens, and he said he considered the medium is there, ether is there, but that ether medium was not there, of course, further proved by Maxwell when he took the electromagnetic nature of light wave. That light wave, Huygens took it as a longitudinal wave, while Maxwell took it as transverse wave, and we have proved it that light wave it is an electromagnetic wave. Of course, the electric vector of your electromagnetic wave is producing the light. And that was further proved by Planck's quantum theory that light is coming in the form of quantas, like he gave the concept of photon. And further that was supported by de Broglie and the things we have to study dual nature of light. So all this, they are forming a chain, and then we are coming with these conclusions, and we can say that light years, which is of course producing the sensation of vision in youth. What is a wave front we have to study, and what is a ray? It means we have to study the wave front and a ray. Like if I'm having a point source with me, I'm having a point source, then light is going in all the directions. If at a particular distance I'm taking the light here, R1 if I'm saying, or I'm taking here at this distance, R2 I'm saying. Similarly, I can draw one more spherical surface around this point object. So when I'm joining the points which are in the same phase of vibration, that is forming the wavefront. So I may say it that continuous locus of all particles which are vibrating in the same phase at any given instant of time. It means light is starting from this point object in time t1. If in all the directions it is traveling the same distance, that is equals to r1, and by joining all those points which are in the same phase of vibration at a given instant of time, that surface which I am getting, that is termed as wavefront. So if I'm having a point source, then the wavefront which is formed, that is having the spherical shape with me. So the wavefront which is formed, I can call it as the spherical wavefront. Similarly, now if I'm having the line source, this is a line source. Now if I take the line source, then of course the light is going, means these are the rays of course going in all the directions. Rays are always perpendicular to this your wavefront. So this light rays are going in all the directions, and if at a given instant of time I join the points which are in the same phase of vibration, then I will be able to get yours a wavefront. That is the, if I want to, at this time I want to draw, I can draw it like this. So that will be your another wavefront with you I can draw. So I can draw a number of wavefronts with me at different instants of time. But the shape which I am getting is cylindrical. So if I am having the line source with me, then with the line source, the wavefront which I am getting is cylindrical wavefront. And if I am having the light rays, they are coming parallel like this from infinity, then the wavefronts which are formed, they are plane wavefront, plane sheets like things you will be getting. So these are, of course, you can at a given instant where you want to draw, you can draw the plane wavefront. All these rays are perpendicular to the ray of light, that you may write that it is an arrow which is drawn perpendicular to the wavefront in the direction of propagation of. This is when the rays are moving like this. The wavefronts which we are getting are diverging wavefronts, and here you can see the wavefronts, they are converging wavefronts because the light waves, they are converging at a point. So accordingly we can have different type of wavefronts with us. This is important with you. That is Huygens principle of secondary wavelets. Huygens said that if I am having this as a source with me, then every point here on this first line, my AM line is on which I am having all the point sources. Then the light is going in all the direction. Rays are going in the backward as well as in the forward direction for all the points. So what it is, if I'm joining the points which are here, in means every point here which is coming in the forward direction, that is the source of the new wavefront. It means new wavefront can be formed by the forward envelope. So this is important. I may have a curved source with me like this, spherical wavefront. I mean, it is simply showing a part of the spherical wavefront. Having a line source, and in the line source I'm having, these are showing again point sources, different point sources, and hence the spherical wavefronts are being shown. So what Huygens said, that each point on this your primary wavefront is a source for the secondary wavefront. And secondary wavefronts, it means I'm forming two secondary wavefronts with me. One is this CD, another is GH. But then he said that it is the forward envelope new wavefront which we have to deal with, and backward envelope is not to be there, because when we are talking about the amplitude of the secondary wavelets, it is given by 1 plus cos theta, and theta is there for, because I'm moving in the forward direction, and then theta will be equals to 180 degree for the backward envelope, and so I will be getting amplitude is equals to 0. You have to mention all these points. Firstly, he said that each point on a wavefront acts as a fresh source of new disturbance, and that new disturbance we are calling it as the secondary wave or wavelets. So secondary wavelets, it means they are coming from the primary, I can say the given wavefront, primary wavefront, just to keep it in your mind, you may say. And secondary wavelets, they are spreading in all the directions with the speed of light. This is what was his assumptions. And the third, he said that new wavefront, if I am willing to find, that is at a given later time, is given by the forward. And while explaining the phenomenon of reflection or refraction, these points should be kept in your mind. Of course, these diagrams should be clear. And you should be knowing the reason that why he is saying that no backward envelope is not possible. Because theta is 180 degree for backward envelope, so amplitude we will not be getting. He explained this as the reason for not getting the backward envelope. So important with you is reflection on the basis of Huygens wave theory of light. So we have taken a plane surface, a plane mirror. So this is plane mirror with you. And as we have seen that when I talk about a wavefront, plane wavefront, of course I'm not drawing the three-dimensional view, I'm simply drawing the two-dimensional view. This is AB is a plane wavefront which is formed when the rays are coming from infinity like this. And at this point, B point, when it is striking the surface of the plane mirror, this is the normal drawn. This is your normal drawn perpendicular, it means to this surface BC, and the angle which this ray is making, that you all know that the angle the incident ray makes with the normal is angle of incidence. So this angle is angle of incidence for this ray. Now if I want to take the angle of incidence for this your wavefront, then on the basis of mathematics I am getting this angle as the I angle. So you need to draw beta, and this you can see this ray is coming and is further reflected. If I am talking about this particular ray, I may name it as second ray, I may name it as first ray, then the things will be more clear with you. Second ray, when it is coming, it is getting reflected. So this is normal again. This is again normal. I may name it as N dash. So this is angle of reflection R. And so same, whatever distance, because now we are moving in the same medium, in the air only I am moving. When rays traveling this distance AC, and if I am saying in the time t, then the same distance is traveled by this ray BD. This ray BD, and that is equals to the velocity of the light into the time t. So for drawing the diagram, you can see the second ray is coming, it is reaching at this point, C point, supposingly in time t. During the same time t, this first ray, after getting reflected, it is coming, it is reaching this point D point. So when I join CD, then the wavefront which I am getting is termed as the reflected wavefront. So AB is the incident wavefront and CD is the reflected wavefront. So you need to draw the diagram very properly, these with the scale and pencil. This angle I am getting equals to 90 degree. So if I go with the triangles ABC and the triangle DBC, these are two triangles I am taking, ABC and DBC. You can see in both these triangles BC is common. This angle A and angle D both are equal, equals to 90 degree. This here side AC, it is equals to BD, because this side I am getting by taking the velocity of the light C in the given time t, it is the distance traveled. So it means these two triangles, they are your equivalent triangles. So when these triangles are same, then you can compare the things mathematically and you can get that your angle I will be coming out equals to R. Need to mention this thing, then you will be getting the angles ABC equals to angle DC. Angle I will come equals to angle I. So once the diagram is clear, you can write these things. And of course, this was the law of reflection. First law says that the incident wavefront, incident ray, reflected ray, and the normal, they lie in the same plane. That was the first law of reflection. And the second law said that the angle of incidence, it is equals to angle of reflection. So these two laws were proved successfully by Huygens by taking his theory forward. That forward envelope we are talking about, and we are not talking about any backward envelope. Similarly, asked to prove refraction of light on the basis of wave theory. Refraction of light means I am changing the medium. I am going from one denser medium to rarer medium, or vice versa. I can go from rarer medium to denser medium. Again, you should be able to draw the diagram. In a glass slab, I am going from air to glass. Or that is, then further I am coming out from glass to air. So these two cases can be there. I have taken the second case, like I am coming out from the glass to air. So I am coming out from denser medium to rarer medium. And this is AB is the incident wavefront. Incident wavefront is again formed by taking these rays which are coming. You may draw 3 rays, 4 rays, but minimum 2 rays are required to draw a wavefront. That you need to take care of. That minimum you draw 2 rays to draw a wavefront. If you want to draw more, it's okay, no problem. But minimum 2 should be there. So I am again taking 2 rays only. This is my first ray. I am taking this as the second ray with you. So 2 rays I am taking. I may take 3 or 4 rays as well. This first ray is coming. See, this is the normal. Now here, when it is coming from, because in the laws of refraction, what is the phenomenon of refraction you have studied? When a ray is coming from here, if I am taking the glass slab, just to revise the things, then if this is the normal drawn, then this is with the ray, if I am coming, this is moving towards the normal. This is normal. And when it is coming out, it goes away from the normal. So this is your A, B, C, D, you may name. So this is the refraction, or is the change in medium. Here it is air, here it is glass, here it is again air. So this refraction of light, of course, should be clear first, that you revise. That when a ray of light is coming from rarer medium to denser medium, it bends towards the normal. When it is going from denser medium to rarer medium, it goes away from the normal. And when we talk about the refraction, then we talk about the lateral displacement also. That is the distance between the emergent ray and incident ray produced. That is lateral displacement. Laws of refraction, of course, also are known to you. That is sine I upon sine R, that is equals to your constant. This was the second law. First law was that incident ray, refracted ray, and normal, they lie in the same plane. This sine I upon sine R is constant, is termed as Snell's law. What is refractive index is denoted by mu, which is of course equals to sine I upon sine R, or you may write it as C upon B also. So that is, you may write N or mu as the symbol of refractive index. So now when I have taken it in the wave theory, then AB here, AB wavefront, that is incident wavefront. Now if this ray is coming from denser to rarer medium, of course it is bending away, And I'm supposing that let here in the denser medium the speed of the light is v1, while the speed of light in the rarer medium is v2. Of course, v2 is greater than v1. If whatever naming you may give, but speed in the rarer medium has to be greater than the speed in the denser medium. So if it is traveling here, now in the rarer medium this ray has come. AD distance is travelled by the first ray in the time t, and this distance AD it is equals to v2t. Same time t, this second ray is traveling in the denser medium. So of course the distance travelled by the second ray is going to be less than the first ray, because here v1 speed is less. So this distance v2t is travelled by the second ray. And now when I join this D and C point, then the wavefront which I am getting is called as refracted wavefront. So this is CD is the refracted wavefront, while AB is the incident wavefront. So by the knowledge of rays, I can complete the diagram. And now if you see this triangle ABC and triangle ADC, if you see these two triangles, then in these two triangles you find the value of sine I, you find the value of sine R. Sine I will be of course perpendicular this BC divided by AC, and sine R will be equals to AD divided by AC. So if I divide sine I by sine R, I will be getting it equals to BC divided by AD. BC divided by AD means V1 divided by V2. So this I am getting in the terms of speeds of light in the different mediums. Well, once the diagram is clear with you, then the proof is simple. BC and AD, which is equals to V1 upon V2. This I may write it as 1 mu 2. It means refractive index when I am moving in the second medium with respect to first medium. This equals to constant. So this is Snell's law. This is Snell's law said that this ratio of sine I upon sine R is constant. So it means both the laws of refraction also can be proved by taking the wavefront theory or wave theory given by Nigel. The refraction, then what is the effect on the wavelength speed during the refraction? But for that you can simply write it, prove it mathematically, that when I am taking mu2 upon mu1, it is coming out to be equals to v1 upon v2. So v it is equals to nu lambda. For the wave we have discussed that v it is equals to nu lambda. So when v it is equals to nu lambda or n lambda you may write, then for first velocity I can write it is equals to nu lambda 1. For second velocity I can write it is equals to nu lambda 2. So I am getting lambda 1 and lambda 2, they are having this inverse relation with the refractive index. It means lambda is having the inverse relation with the refractive index, while it is having the direct relation with the speed. So you can say that if speed is increasing, then wavelength is increasing, and when refractive index is increasing, then wavelength decreases. So refractive index is always given for the different mediums, and then you can work out with the things in the questions whenever it is asked. Now, putting the prism, I'm putting the lens, or I'm putting the mirror, and then how this can be explained, how I will be able to draw the wavefronts, reflected wavefronts. Like if in the first case I have taken the prism is there, and we are taking the rays are coming from infinity, parallel rays are coming from infinity, and they are falling on this first surface of the prism. This is your incident wavefront AC. Then you need to draw the reflected wavefront. So this is traveling in air for a given time. Now it is traveling the maximum time in the glass. Prism is made up of glass. So maximum time it is traveling. So here the distance traveled by this ray C dash I can say will be less. here this distance after the prism it is traveling, because here inside it has traveled more and speed here is less. Here it is not passing through the prism at all, means or a very small width it is passing through the glass. So this distance, if you wish, I may name it as, okay, I'm naming it as P, Q and R. That is the prism. So this PA dash of course has to be greater than yours R's, because of the obvious reason that here the speed is more in the air and speed is less here in the glass. So most of the time it will remain here. So here the distance traveled is going to be less. So when you join at any instant of time this position A dash C dash, we are getting it as the refracted wavefront. So this you can say. Similarly, if I am having a convex lens, then you can be asked to draw the refracted wavefront. Again, the rays are coming parallel, and here you can see when they are passing through the center, this distance is going to be less as compared to this distance and this distance. So this central distance is less. Again, if you wish, you can name it as, I may call it as RO. I may call it as P. So here's RO is less. RO is less than P. Or you may say Q. So similarly, if you want to draw more lines, then accordingly you can get the variation. And this at any time, if I'm joining the locus of all the points which are in the same phase of vibration, then only I get the wavefront. So this is the refracted wavefront. You can get for the concave mirror also. This is concave mirror. This is your incident wavefront. And similarly, you can draw, this is your refracted. So you should be able to draw the refracted wavefront if the incident wavefront is given to you. So for today, you keep things up to this. Thank you, everyone.